Greetings, YouTube. There's a trolley business in Annapolis, Maryland, owned by one Matt Grubbs. And he traditionally provides his service for weddings to the tune of some $50,000 a year. It's a very quaint trolley. People like it as a background for weddings, though I've never really personally found that all that interesting. I prefer natural settings myself. And he is a hardcore evangelical Christian and feels that Maryland's new marital equality law is discriminatory against people who hold his particular worldview. So very shortly, once the law goes into effect, he would have to allow same-sex couples access to his trolley service. Otherwise, he would be in violation of the law. So rather than have that happen, he is going to stop providing the service for weddings at all. Now, this is Mr. Grubbs' right. He has every right to decide that I am not going to participate in something if it violates a personal belief I hold. For example, if Mr. Grubbs were a racist, as opposed to just a bigot against the gay community, he could say, I don't want to serve black people. And he would then have to stop serving all people because he can't discriminate against just the minority group of the black community. So if he wanted to do that, he could. He could put his beliefs on the line and say that my beliefs are more important to me than my business. And that's what he's doing here. But I don't think he understands that there are other people out there willing to step in and provide the same service for the gay community. And if he's not willing to do it, someone else will. Someone else is going to think, hey, there's a $50,000 business just lying there. I'll pick that business up. And then they will then make profit, and Mr. Grubbs will make less. And, as in every other case in human rights in American history, he shall be swept into the dustbin of history as a bigot. Because as ugly as people will tell me that word is, it's applicable here. He has publicly stated that he is discriminating against the gay community. That he feels that they are not worthy of equal rights to the straight community. And no matter how you want to spin that, that's bigotry. Now, he would like a religious exemption for this. He would like to be able to stand up and say, I, as a blank theist, should have the right to impose my personal worldview on everyone around me because I am a theist. It doesn't work that way. Now, if you'd like to establish yourself as a church, then you could then say, okay, as a church, I can discriminate against group X or group Y or group Z or individual B. You know what I mean? Go ahead, do it. You will look really bad, and again, you will be swept into the dustbin of history as other religious groups step up and say, no, we are not bigots. We welcome you into our membership. So, if he'd like to do that, he can. But as a privately owned business, he has to make it available to everyone under the law. And if he chooses not to, he has the option of being sued or not making the service available. And he's chosen the latter because he knows if he just flat out says, gay people are not allowed to use my service, he will be sued and he will lose. So it's a shrewd move. It's a nice political statement. It gets him lots of sympathy from his fellow racists and bigots out in the world. Because I'm going to make a lot of people really angry here, but I've seen a lot of correlations between bigots when it comes to the gay community and the racist community as well. There's a lot of connections there. Yeah. Bigotry seems to be a pervasive disease inside the mind. Of course, it's all based on fear. Fear of the other. Fear of the outsider. Trying to protect the in-group and exclude the out-group. Which is, of course, the whole reason that people have fought and died to make sure that all Americans have equality under the law, in opposition to that. Remember, I've been alive long enough to have lived through the period when gay people were invisible. When interracial couples couldn't marry in most places. When black people didn't have the same rights as the other Americans, majority. I've lived long enough to have all of those things happen within my living lifetime. Heck, I've lived long enough that it was a time in American history where women couldn't wear pants on the floor of the Congress. You want to know what year that was, folks? 1993. Yeah. It's a long, slow fight when it comes to human rights, civil rights. And this is just the latest battlefield. Now, if Mr. Grubbs wants to do this, more power to him. Someone else will pick up the business. Someone else will just, say, okay, we'll accept the gay community because we're not racists, we're not bigots, we're not discrimination. Cool. But I defend his right to do this. He has every right to do this. He is exercising his First Amendment freedom of speech. He is exercising his right to make a public statement. And I will defend his right to do this. I think he's wrong. I think he's a bigot. I think he's completely and utterly missing the message of Jesus Christ of loving thy neighbor. But he's entitled to do all these things. It's a free country still. So, Mr. Grubbs, more power to you. Maybe the angry, straight community will champion your cause and give you some more non-wedding business and help make up that $50,000 you just lost. But it's not going to last forever because that demographic is growing smaller as the years go by. Look at the data. The younger generation, the people in their teens and 20s right now, they don't give a crap at all about whether gay people or straight people get married. To them, it's a non-issue. It doesn't matter to them. So in 20 or 30 years, all those people will be in control. And this is all just going to get swept away. And Mr. Grubb's grandchildren will wonder, how come Grandpa was such a bigot?